Last question I think we should try to get in. This I think is a good one as a high level for the whole conference. In the discussion of Aql versus Naql, you talked about the juxtaposition historically and methodologically of the two. My question is, which comes first? That is, which should we be grounded in before studying the other? Or is this the classic chicken and the egg dilemma, wherein both are mutually and equally important as foundations for the other? Which do we as students study first, or do we study both simultaneously?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Aql is a condition, a necessary condition for Naql. It's not a sufficient condition, but it's absolutely necessary. There are other conditions that go with that. So you have to have intellect first. And that's why أَوَّلُ وَاجِبٍ عَلَى مَنْ كُلِّفَ. And taklif comes with intellect. Before intellect there's no taklif. So intellect has to precede. The aql precedes naql. The aql also receives naql. It has to be understood. So if I'm speaking to you, you have to understand what I'm saying to you. If I say Allah has neither kathra or adad, and I explain to you that adad is number and kathra is composition, you have to understand the difference between discrete numbers like 3 pens and a pen that has 2 parts, because one is number and the other is composition. So if that's understood by the intellect, if you don't have the ability to understand that, well, you're not teachable. And that's what Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad radiallahu anhu, he said, a man once asked, he was a grammarian, but a man once asked him a question, and he took some time to answer it, and the man said, Afhamtu al-Khalil, I stumped the great Khalil. He looked up, he was in his class, which is a rude thing to say to somebody, but he was in his class, and he just said, Ya hada, what are you talking about? He said, you asked me that question, I was thinking, because these people had firasa, there's people like Imam Shafi'i could look at a person and know whether or not the question that he was asking was a question that Imam Shafi'i's answer would be appropriate for his understanding. And that's why Imam Malik would not answer everybody. And one man once asked him a question and he didn't answer. And the man said, don't you know the hadith, Man katama ilman, al-jamuhu Allahu birijamin min an-nar, whoever conceals knowledge, Allah will bridle him with a bridle of fire. And Imam Malik said to him, if somebody asked me that question who I felt was a vesicle for the answer, I wouldn't conceal it. In other words, he was saying that hadith is not mutlaq. You don't tell somebody who can't understand what you're talking about, because the Prophet ﷺ said, I was commanded to talk to people to the level of their understanding. And so not every answer or question deserves a full answer. And some, it's better just to avoid the question altogether, depending on the situation and on the audience, or on the questioner. And so Al-Khalil, when he was asked that question, he told him there's 4 types of people, there's no fifth. He said people who know and know they know, and those are teachers, learn from them. People who know and don't know they know, and those are people that are like ghafil, he said, heedless of their knowledge, so remind them so that you can benefit from them. Those who don't know and know they don't know, and those are students, so teach them. And then those who don't know and think they know, and those are fools, and avoid them. and that is a problem. Jahl murakkab, which is one of the 6 foundations of kufr, kufri, that is a problem, compounded ignorance. And there's a lot of people out there, and we all suffer at some level from compounded ignorance. I mean, nobody's immune to that. We can misunderstand things and think we've understood them. But when that is your overriding problem, then you have a serious problem.